Hi there, I'm Marina Hayter, and I have just had the absolute privilege to be interviewed, and my cat be interviewed with Keith Andrew for his YouTube video. It has been such fun. I recommend that you go and watch all his videos because he has a way of asking us questions that really makes us dig deep and come up with amazing, interesting answers. Go check him out, guys, it's worth it.
Whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities. Never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are, who you're going to be. So prove to them, still amount to something. We're here with a good friend of mine. She's from overseas, and it's great to have you with us. As you know, she already introduced herself from the recommendation, but today is Monday, and you know what that means? It's Monday Night Raw. If you're a fan of WWE, go to WWE.com. We can watch it on the USA Network, available on YouTube and Peacock. First question I want to ask you is tell our audience a little bit about yourself and the type of work that you do.
Well, I'm Marina Hayter, and I'm an actress over here in the UK.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first question I want to ask you is what drew you to becoming an actress?
Wow, what a question. I kind of fell into it because a friend of mine was doing a commercial and she said, well, why don't you come along to an agent that was opening their books for new talent and try it out. And so I did, not expecting much of it. And lo and behold, 25 years later, here I am.
No, absolutely. So the next subject I want to talk to you about is COVID-19. How has COVID-19 impacted your life, and do you see things differently than you did before?
It impacted my work life, yes, because all the productions closed down. And then as they began to open up, we had to wear masks and we were all COVID tested and all that kind of stuff. So it impacted my work life for sure. But whilst productions were closed, I was able to become a COVID nurse in my area. And so I actually was looking after COVID patients as a nurse in my area. So I felt that I was released from my day job so that I could serve and help my community, which made me feel good.
No, absolutely. Now, has it given you a different outlook on life?
From a Christian point of view, yes, because I'm a born again Christian and my faith is the most important thing in my life. So from that point of view, it's heightened to me things that I know in the Bible that are coming to pass, that have already happened, and and things that are going to happen in the near future. So yes, it certainly reflected to me the beginning of what the Bible describes as the end times. So yeah.
Oh, hopefully Trump doesn't become president, so it won't be the end times.
Well, I hope he does, because it would be the best thing that America has ever seen.
I mean, if you like dictators.
I'm a massive Trump supporter.
So the next question I want to ask you, it's a new subject. What is song of the day? What song did you listen to on this day?
What song did I listen to?
Yes.
Oh gosh, well, I've had various songs on this morning. Um, I think that the song that I go to all the time is "How Great Is My God." It's a Christian song.
All right. Well, here's a fun song subject for you. The next one I want to ask you is song. Well, I did song today. Music. What's music that impacted your career? Was there any rock bands? Was there any bands that impacted your career to do what you do today?
Not secular, no, but Christian worship, absolutely. It impacts every part of my life every day. Um, I do like Andre Rao. He is a violinist and a conductor, and he has the Johann Strauss Orchestra, and he travels all over the world. And I love his music, absolutely love his music. Um, but secular wise, not so much. No,
All right.
no.
Well, the next one I want to ask is how did you get started in it as an actress?
As I think I've already answered that for you at the beginning. I
Oh,
said
that.
friend.
Well, the first one is it's two similar questions. The first one is what drew you to become an actress, and the second one is what got you started.
My friend invited me to join an agency. Oh gosh, I do apologize. I do apologize for that. And let me turn it on silent. My friend invited me to join an agency, and I did, and that's kind of got what got me started. I joined an agency, they gave me some work, I liked it. The rest is history.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, now my timer's going off. So the next one I want to ask you, you played so many different roles in your life. So the question I want to ask you is, how do you approach character development in being an actress?
I do a lot of research. If I'm portraying, say, a true character in a documentary, then I will do a lot of research on that person and how they lived and what they thought and what they ate and what they wore. If I am portraying a fictional character, I I pray, obviously, and I ask the Holy Spirit to show me how to embody and portray what the director is looking for. So I'm guided a lot by God because he's in charge of my life. Um, so it's a mixture of research, prayer, and I suppose digging in deep within myself, especially for emotions and thought patterns. Putting myself in those shoes, how would I react to that line that was delivered to me? How would I react in real life to that scene that I'm in? So it's a combination of various things.
Now, this actually is a different subject because I actually wrote questions for people who are in theater. So I'm
In
like,
what?
oh, theater, oh, being on stage. So,
Ah,
so my
yes.
job is to like, okay, these are theater questions. How can I make these relatable to if you're an actor to a writer? So I'm taking out the theater part and put in actor. So I never done these questions before, so that's why just bear with me.
Well, I
But
guess it's the same thing when you're on stage. There's very famously known. You have four walls on a stage. You have the two wings, the backdrop, and the fourth wall that you never ever break except for pantomime is the audience. So for me, my fourth wall, unless I'm presenting, is the camera.
I
You
always, I
break
always
that.
like when characters break the fourth wall. I always think it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it shouldn't be done unless it's in pantomime. You never break the fourth wall. It's a code. It's a code.
There's a scene in Pokemon where these two they're supposed to be villains, but then they become comedy relief. Jesse and James. So they're talking like, "Oh, we need to steal Pikachu." That's never going to happen. But we need to continue anyway. Well, any ideas how that's going to work? And Deadpool's Mark Ryan Reynolds is also known for breaking the fourth wall.
Some people do. Some people do.
Well, let me ask you this question. How does acting in front of a live audience compare to no one in the room?
With a live audience, you've got one chance to get it right. With a camera or nobody in the room, you can repeat, retake, repeat, retake, repeat, retake. But with the live audience, you either get it right or you dry. And if you dry, you dry. Dry means you don't remember your lines. Dry means I can't remember what comes next. And it happens. And you either crumble or you work through it. And hopefully, if your partner that you're delivering the line to is on the ball, he'll feed you a line that you can pick yourself back up from easily.
Yeah, there's this funny story. I interviewed this wrestler, and he's like, "Oh, well, this is the promo that they told me to do." When he comes out, he does the promo, goes backstage. He's like, "That's not the freaking thing I told you to say. So go back out there." I'm like, "Well, they already heard me do the promo the first time." So it's like, "I'm sorry. I know you just saw me 5 minutes ago, but I'm being told to come out and redo the promo. So bear with me."
Yeah, okay.
But it happens. But
It,
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I'm just saying it does. It happens in film and TV as well. If you look at, we have some shows over here, and I'm sure you have them over there, outtake shows, all the bloopers. You know, it happens all the time. We're human. We make mistakes. We
One,
fall over the props. We fall down the stairs. We forget our lines. One of
that's
my most famous bloopers was one of the first Sherlock films. And on action, it was a really wet day. And we were on cobbles. And I had like 5 skirts and, layers and layers and layers of period stuff. And on action, I had to walk across to Jude Law and deliver. And action. And of course, we're in shoes that hurt, and don't fit very well, period shoes. So on action, I'm walking across the cobbles. And the idea is I step up onto the curb and I deliver. But I decided I wouldn't step up on the curb. I would fall over my skirt and completely crumble at his feet. And I was like, no. I think it was my first day on set. And I was very well aware that it was Jude Law over there and I had to go and deliver. Nope, I walked across and I just crumbled and I was so embarrassed. So embarrassed. But
I
he
mean,
just laughed, I laughed, he picked me up and we did it again.
there's some bloopers that are really funny, and some bloopers are just horrible. Like
I
they try to put bloopers in Power Rangers. I'm like, these are freaking terrible. I mean, okay, one or two lines were funny, but it's still not funny to this day.
I don't know about that, but yeah.
There's just a line from Suits. Suits is one of the great shows. Harvey Specter, Mike Ross. I would recommend it. And one of the bloopers, he's talking to Megan, who's funny enough, who's actually now the Queen of England, and sees there is Mike, and you're talking, and he's like, "Well, things can't be just black and white," and he's like, "Yeah, but you are."
Oh, gee.
I thought that was a funny blooper.
Yeah, I like that.
But
Oh yeah.
let me ask you, how do you feel about Megan Rubio? I think that's her name, being the Queen of England.
In the Crown,
Yes.
if she qualifies for the part and the directors think she fits the bill, then go for it.
Yeah.
Who am I to say?
Well, she came a long way from being an actress to now being a Queen of England.
Hold on. Are you talking about Meghan Markle?
Yes, thank you. I know I butchered her name.
I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about filming. Meghan Markle will never be the Queen of England
Oh, how come?
because her husband will never be king.
Well, let me ask you about that. You bring up a good point. In America, we have presidents, and in
Just
the
hold on. Just hold on. At the moment, we have King Charles and Camilla. Then it will be William and his wife Catherine. And then it will go down to William's eldest son, George. And then it will go to Charlotte. And then it will go to Louis. And after that, if all of that happens, it would then go to Harry. Harry is eighth or ninth in line to the throne. So it will never happen.
and never say never. That's what they said about Trump being president. But
It will never be that Harry is king.
well, let me ask you. In America, there's presidents. What's the difference between having presidents and having a kingdom?
Well, we have
And I know I make people drink.
we have the royal family that America doesn't. And we have our prime minister, which is effectively your president. So we just have a monarchy like they do in other countries. And we have the monarchy and we have government. You just have government. So there's no difference between the presidency and our government.
So what's the difference between president and king? Who has more power?
That is not a question that has an answer to it because the president will only be president in a country that doesn't have a monarchy.
Yeah, that's
So
interesting. Well, from your point of view, what would you prefer? American politics or British politics?
oh gosh. Oh, now there's a question. Well, I've grown up in English politics. I've grown up in it. My parents were political. I'm political. My daughter, etc. Um, but I have been and I am a fan of some of your presidents. I think the way your elections run is very complicated. Yeah, we simply vote, but you have college votes, you have primaries, you have, I don't even know what the words are, all of that before you get to
Yeah,
actually vote for your president. We simply just vote for our prime minister.
it makes it so much easier. Just go straight forward instead of having electros and then you have another one. It's like let's cut the bullshit and let's go straight for it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I understand that they have to whittle down who is going to run and who is going to run against them. Yeah, we do that too, but it's not so inclusive of the public, if that makes sense.
Everyone likes to say the best we'll see the best I would say election or a conversation. It's where they had Mitt Romney and Obama on the stage. And this is never going to happen again. Mitt Romney was chasing Obama around the stage and saying, answer the question, answer the question. And Obama said, okay, I will. It's like, okay, what's the answer? That will never happen again. Now,
Probably not.
I'm
But
not a, I'm not a,
Barack was just over here a couple of weeks ago.
well, who was?
Barack,
He wasn't a bad president. I mean,
I liked him. I liked him a lot. I had a lot of time for him and Michelle. A lot of time.
my biggest problem with him was he wanted to be more of a celebrity and he stuck his nose in things that didn't belong to a president.
But I'm not privy to that kind of information, so I can't comment.
Well, for an example, he stuck his nose in the Tremar Varden case, where he said if I had a son, he would look like me. I'm like, but dude, you're the president of the United States. Stop trying to make this into a freaking racial thing. Or
Uh,
the foreign policy he was horrible at, but there were some things he was good at, like the Obamacare for all. So you had,
yeah,
oh, that was really good. But I'm not a fan of Biden. It's what was he expressing? I would rather go with the devil I know than the devil I don't
I
know.
don't. Yeah, yeah.
And now they're saying Kennedy, one of the Kennedys are running, and he's batshit crazy. So if you have a Kennedy or a Trump, I mean, they're both crazy, but I guess go with Trump because you really don't know what the other one's going to do.
You don't.
I'm not,
But the way I approach voting is I pray and I ask God who He wants in leadership. I prayed for the American elections when Donald Trump was running. And I'm not going to get into politics, but Donald Trump was the one that God appointed for America. And Donald Trump will be president again and be inaugurated in January 2025.
let me ask you something, um, if I may, and you can always pass on this. You're really big on religion, but let me ask you, how do you feel about people that predict the future? For an example, like not conspiracy theories, like The Simpsons in 2000 predicted Trump being president. They also predicted in 1993, September 11th. Do you think there is someone that well, there's a book writer. I think it's Tom Clancy or James Patterson, where they have someone within the government that feeds some information. That's why some of the books you listen to, it really hits hard. Like there's a book about Contagion, and Contagion was about the pandemic that we're going through.
Well, there's two sides to this. One is God speaks to me, and God speaks to all the other Christians as well, not just me. And also the Bible, it tells us what's going to happen today, yesterday, tomorrow, and the future. So if you know the Bible, you already know what's going to happen. Also, when we're praying, Christians, not just me, God speaks to us about what's going to happen. So I know things that's going to play out in the next 5 to 6 years that other people don't. Other Christians know exactly the same as I do because we've read the Bible, we read the Bible every day, we watch what's happening in the world, we match it with what the Bible says, and we can see it playing out. So that's the truth of what's going to be predicted. But then there are people that use demonic powers to pretend or falsify what's going to happen. Now, they may well happen. I know people who predicted things that happened. But for everything that is real, there is always a counterfeit. So you can either go to the truthful source or the counterfeit source. The answers may well be the same, not necessarily always, maybe, but for me, I will always go to the true source.
No, I agree with you. Well, let me ask you, how were you an admirer or fan of Nostradamus?
No,
Well,
that was a simple question.
I mean, it was pretty interesting. He said supposedly, I never met the guy. Supposedly, he saw people in iron cages, and like that means cars. But I don't know, not to talk about religion or anything, but I just find it very interesting that you ever see History of the World?
No,
Great movie, I would recommend it.
I don't have time to watch anything at the moment. I am just so busy.
Well, if I send you if I find a clip, I'll send it to you. For an example, I can see his face, but I can't think of his name. And they're the unemployment line, and the woman's like, what is your job? I'm a great philosopher. Oh, a bullshitter. And it, so they went on this whole big thing. Did you bullshit today? No. Did you try to bullshit today? No. So it's really funny. I can't think of his name, but he's a great comedian. He also did Spaceballs too. Another great movie. I can hear its name in the head, but I can't pronounce it.
Okay.
But I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But how can our fans and listeners get in touch with you?
Excuse me. They can get in touch with me via Facebook, Twitter, or my office email, and my staff will reply to any email sent.
Yeah, wonderful. I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road. Until we meet again, catch you later. Thank you, and have a good night.
Says hello too. Here we go. Here you go.